Well, Dr. Jean Bailey and retired Senator Michael Mitchell are here joining me for this particular conversation. Dr. Bailey, I want to start with you. You were both in that audience when Madiba delivered that acceptance speech. I want to know from you, what was that experience like on that particular day? He was just 5 months into his presidency of South Africa, by the way.
It was an amazing experience because we, like the rest of the world, had longed for the day when Mandela would be free, and then, of course, South Africa as well to be free. And so just to be there in his presence was amazing. Yeah.
Senator Mitchell?
It was just a moment that it was kind of an epiphany for my life, having been arrested in front of the South African embassy in Washington, D.C., protesting against apartheid, and then to celebrate the release and the election of Mandela. It was, I was impressed with his humbleness and knowing that it was a defining moment of the history for the world, really.
Dr. Bailey, I want to come back to you and ask this particular question, and that is, what stood out for you about that speech that he delivered that day?
Well, for us at Howard University, he acknowledged that the transformation was going to be a very difficult process. And he was very concerned about poverty, not only in South Africa, but around the world. And so he actually reached out to us and invited us to assist in this transformation of South Africa to the new democracy. And we responded with the formation of the Howard South Africa Project. Senator, we have worked with South Africa since that time.
Fantastic. We're going to get to those details about the program that actually grew out of that particular, or resulted from that particular day. Senator Mitchell, I want to come back to you, and I want to just read an extract from that speech. I went through it this morning, and Madiba says these words: "What has been obtained in South Africa today is an achievement for the black people throughout the world." Surely that must have resonated with the African-American community.
It certainly did, because my late father, Clarence Mitchell Jr., as the United Nations representative, ambassador from the United States of America in 1975, was able to successfully get the United States to go on record condemning apartheid in South Africa, and having been threatened by Vorster and burned in effigy in Johannesburg. It was a thrilling moment to know that my father's actions were vindicated with his election, and it is important that it was a defining moment for people of color around the world.
You also personally campaigned for the fall of apartheid in South Africa.
Oh, most definitely. From the very beginning, we were, from birth, knew that we were Americans of African descent, and so that my father, for the first time in '75, because Vorster had said that Mandela was in Russia, and it was untrue, and my father was able to say that he, along with other coloreds and Asians and whites of goodwill, were being held unconstitutionally for simply speaking out and protesting and expressing their freedom of speech.
Dr. Bailey, several programs grew out or were born out of that particular ceremony that day. As a result, there are particular initiatives that are currently ongoing between South Africa and Maryland. Talk to us about those, what some of those are.
So we have formed also, we extended our program not just from Howard University, but to the state of Maryland, which Howard has also is located also in Maryland and in Washington, D.C. We have a partnership with the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We're working with them and also the Department of Social Development, addressing issues such as substance abuse, prevention, treatment, early childhood development. And also we have a major project with Dr. Sonia Smith in the Department of Science and Technology, enhancing women participation in science, technology, engineering, and math, better known as STEM programs.
Fantastic. Senator Mitchell, you were talking to me about job initiatives that actually also have...
Yes, under this leadership of Dr. Bailey, we are friends, and she just has a magnetic personality to be able to draw you into the fight in common cause of establishing this is historic, the first time a state in the United States has established a trade office in the Republic of South Africa to advance business and to create jobs for young people, which are needed to fill President Mandela's dreams of empowering those who don't have. And then the other significant item is that we are working to establish a relationship under her ideas and direction between the Port of Durban and Baltimore's port. Isn't that magnificent? Open up Asia and create jobs here to then with the East Coast. So we're thrilled about those two initiatives because we know you need jobs, as we all do, and it's important that we might be thousands of miles away on the ocean, but we are still of the same heart and background. This is my home.
Fantastic. Dr. Bailey, I can't not ask you this question, and it's about, you're talking about initiatives to try and make sure that jobs are created in South Africa. You have a president right now, currently, who is almost intent on reversing everything that Barack Obama has been doing in America, and he talks about being America first. Talk to us about what it was like to work with the Obama, or to work in the Obama administration, and to see what is happening now almost being reversed by the current head of state.
Yes, well, President Obama's presidency was a great inspiration for not only us in the U.S., but for the world. And he did accomplish many things, and there is, we would say, an attempt to reverse many of the things that he did, but we don't think that is going to be successful. One of the major projects that he embarked on with relationship to Africa was the Young African Leaders Initiative. And Howard University has had the opportunity to participate in what we have named the Mandela Washington Fellows Program, where we've trained at Howard University over 100 young African leaders from across the continent over the past 5 years. But there were more than 40 universities that participated in that project. And that is consistent with President Obama's message yesterday, where he said the future is actually with our youth, and providing training and inspiring and developing those youth as they are the future leaders of the continent and also of the world.
Senator Mitchell, very, very briefly, we are out of time. One of the themes I think the former president touched on, as in Barack Obama yesterday at that memorial lecture, was the issue of race relations that continue to be a problem. How would you describe race relations in America right now under the...
race relations, that we are strong. Just as brothers and sisters fought apartheid, we can fight Donald Trump. This is, as President Obama said, that those who espouse hate and lack of neglect for your fellow man. He was saying that Mandela talked about do unto your neighbor as you would have your neighbor do unto you. And those hate always surfaces but never lasts in the course of history, or but a blink of the eye. And so that I am forever optimistic that we who believe in freedom cannot rest until it fully comes to all of the people. So I'm optimistic, and Trump will fade.
With time.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to have the both of you.
It's absolutely